Welcome to Durbania. I'm Durbin.
I'm Laura.
And we are going to spoiler talk The Legend of Tarzan.
I can't do it as good as they did in the movie.
It's awesome. They actually did it pretty good in the movie.
Yeah, it didn't sound like that high-pitched girl Tarzan noise. It was like a deep guy voice.
But it was like guttural. It was kind of scary.
Yeah, it's supposed to be scary.
One of the things I liked,
call.
the bad guy Leon, when he hears it, he's like, I always thought I'd hear it. I never knew it'd sound like that. Like that was...
Yeah, or he said something like, I thought it would sound different than that.
Yeah, one of those is probably somewhere in the middle.
He probably thought it'd sound more girly, and then he, instead it gave fear in his heart.
Yeah, so it gave fear in my heart. Like, the 2 times I heard it, it was like, oh my goodness. Like, for a while, I didn't think they were going to do the Tarzan yell.
You got it at least twice. Maybe 3 times.
Yes.
Maybe 3 times.
So, what did you think of this movie overall?
All right, so I enjoyed the movie. A lot better than the cartoon, in my opinion. I wasn't really ever a huge fan of the cartoon. I didn't see it until it was out of theaters, probably by 10 years, though, either. But this movie, I thought it was really slow to start, which makes sense. You've got to learn who these characters are. But the second half of the movie, I really liked. So
you're talking about when he got to Africa. Would that for you be the dividing line? That's the second half?
Yeah, probably when they finally left and they were in Africa, and he just starts to get back to who he really is.
I watched this one movie called The Ghost and the Darkness, and they gave a very interesting hippopotamus fact, that hippopotamuses fart through their mouths. Then, in this movie, I got another interesting hippopotamus fact, that they are the most dangerous creatures
and fast
out there. And oh my gosh, yes, this hippopotamus charged Jane, and I thought she was going to be eaten alive. Well, I didn't, because she's Jane. There's no way they're going to eat her.
Not a chance.
But it was still like, oh my gosh, a hippo can do that. They're just so fat and plump. You don't see that coming. And are reading way too much into the Disney cartoon. Like, one of the things that I said, that I was like, oh man, they didn't have him go to England. That's what this movie was.
It started with him there.
Yes, and I kind of like that. This is basically a Tarzan sequel. Like, he and Jane, they've been married for a long time. They're trying to have kids. They're trying to start a family. And so I thought it was interesting that it started there. And then, like what I said in my spoiler-free review, what I really ended up liking was the flashbacks. So he goes to Africa, and he has the flashbacks of his life with his mother gorilla and brother gorilla.
And you don't see much flashbacks, but you get enough to see the connection he had and how, there's one gorilla who just didn't like him, the
brother? No. Oh, no, the guy with the scar in his eye. But it was the same thing as in the Disney cartoon where the dad was like, he's not one of us. You had that character again in this, but he was a lot more scary.
Yeah. No, he was. And he's the one who killed Tarzan's dad, which is much more like the book. Unlike in the cartoon when it was this tiger, which you really don't even see at all.
And he wrestled that leopard in this movie. He did.
Yeah, you see like a quick cameo of him wrestling the leopard in a flashback, but it wasn't attacking it was attacking his gorilla family, not anything else.
Yeah. So there's a lot of interesting things about this movie. It was kind of, like you said, though, it was slow in the beginning, but I didn't mind that. I liked it because I liked getting that development.
I liked the development, but I just was ready for it to move on.
And I like getting where are we now? Let's get caught up here. And so I think the interesting thing, just real quick, the overview of the story is you got this guy, Leon, working for the king of Belgium, who is broke. Leon is trying to go into this Congo jungle in Africa and get
super big diamonds.
Super big diamonds. King now not broke. Leon hero. Yay! Except it's controlled by this other really violent tribe that's in, the jungle. And this tribe is just not going to let these diamonds go. Except for this deal. Deliver to us Tarzan and we'll give you these diamonds. So Leon just concocts this whole plan, sends out this royal invitation for John Clayton, a.k.a. Tarzan, to return to the jungle. And then Samuel L. Jackson, who is George Washington Williams, he suspects enslavement and slavery is going on, and he was a soldier that fought in the Civil War, and he's like, I ain't taking that. So he, in his typical Sam Jackson way, he was Sam Jackson. And it was awesome in this movie.
It was mostly awesome in this movie.
Well, we'll get more to that. I want to know what you didn't think was so awesome, because I thought he was a great character.
It was overall a great character, and then there was 1 or 2 lines at the end. I'm like, they just had to put Sam Jackson in. That's where I felt that. Overall, I thought he was great.
I thought it worked.
Yeah.
But then you have Jane, who's like, no, I'm going to Africa with you, because I like the interesting backstory of Jane. I don't know if she was a missionary's kid or what, but for whatever reason, she grew up with a tribe in Africa.
Yes, and her father taught them English.
Yeah, so I thought that was a really interesting story, and it seems that it was Tarzan that actually ended up getting her to go to England to go to his family's estate.
Yes.
In which, if I was Tarzan, I would want to know my family of origin and their estate and all that stuff too. So I thought that was kind of different than what I typically have known of Tarzan in the past. So I thought that was really kind of interesting to see her connection to Africa and the Congo and all that stuff with this other tribe that Tarzan ended up befriending that tribe. But anyway,
because of her.
Yeah, because of her. And so then as you go on through this thing, you get it. The bad guy, Leon, wants Tarzan. So Jane goes on this trip. He tries to kidnap Tarzan. Doesn't work, so he kidnaps Jane. He wants to hold Jane hostage to get Tarzan drawn out to him, to this other tribe, so that the chief can have the fight, and then they can take the diamonds, and then they can enslave the entire Congo. And it's up to Tarzan to even make amends with that chief, because he killed the chief's son. Because the chief's son
Killed his ape mom.
Shot her in the back. And Tarzan held her as she died. And her little paw was up here. And then...
A little over dramatic. Just a little bit.
It was horrendous. It was horrendous.
It was horrendous. I shouldn't be laughing.
So Tarzan killed the chief's son because for them, that was a hunter's rite of passage to go kill a gorilla or some animal in the jungle.
And Tarzan, being raised as an animal, not knowing any human way, did what the apes would do. Kill the person who killed one of their own.
So you get the purpose of Tarzan now. He's got to unite this tribe. He's got to unite the animal kingdom. And he's got to come against this guy who wants to enslave all these tribes in the Congo and put an end to all of this. So I thought, that was a really interesting story. I thought it was really cool how they pulled Tarzan in. But like I said, one of the things I really liked was Samuel L. Jackson in this movie. I just thought he was a great sidekick to Tarzan. I thought he was really cool because he never wanted to leave Tarzan's side.
Yeah.
But he couldn't keep up with Tarzan, and he would just, fall on the ground hacking and coughing because, he can't keep up with Tarzan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I enjoyed Samuel L. Jackson mostly. I thought he did a great job. He did exactly what he was told to do, which he's very good at because actor! And then... but I just like the chemistry between the characters. I believed it. The guy who played Tarzan, I've seen him in a couple of things. He was in Battleship, and I remember, although most people hated that movie, I thought it was stupid fun, so I enjoyed it.
It was stupid fun.
But I remember thinking, he's a decent character, and so I'm watching this movie going, I thought they picked the right person. There was times where it looked like he was showing absolutely no emotion, but it felt like that's what he was taught in the animal kingdom, so that's why he was like that. And then you'd see times of joy, and I liked the character that they picked, and the chemistry between all the characters together. I thought him and Jane had good chemistry. I thought his anger towards the bad guy, it wasn't over the top.
Yeah.
But
it was enough that you know why he doesn't like this guy and why he has to pursue and all. Yeah, so it was cool.
It could have maybe been better verbalized, but seeing as he's a wild man raised as an animal, I didn't need it necessarily.
One of the things I liked was when he first comes to Africa for the first time and he walks up to the Pride of Lions and he does the,
Oh yeah, he
that thing. Jane says to Samuel L. Jackson, George Washington Williams, she goes, "Oh yeah, he's known them since they were cubs."
Yeah, and so he kind of just, they're welcoming him back to the jungle, hey, it's so good to see you again. Kind of hugs from a long lost family.
Yeah, it felt like a high school reunion in some parts.
High school reunions wouldn't be that much fun.
Yeah, no, they wouldn't be that much fun or friendly. And one of the things, I wouldn't say it was a negative or I disliked it, but whenever Tarzan had to fight the gorillas, there was this epic scene where he had to fight his gorilla brother. Because the gorilla brother, keep in mind these animals don't talk. We're taking these cues from Tarzan as he's trying to explain it to Samuel L. Jackson. Considers him a deserter because of him leaving, I guess. I guess that makes sense.
Well, because what happened, instead of, being one of the gorillas, he protected Jane. And so
he took a pounding on his back while covering Jane and
broke probably tons of bones in his bodies. And so Jane and the tribe that she was staying at got Tarzan and brought him and, helped nurse him back to health, even though we don't see the nursing back to health. But you're under the impression that Tarzan does not go back into the wilderness after that point.
Yeah, and of course that's where he gets his education and he and Jane absolutely fall in love. But now he's back facing his brother. And the brother thinks he's a deserter, and he says to Sam Jackson, no matter what happens, do not interrupt this has to happen. And they have this epic fight.
Yeah.
The only problem I had with this epic fight is it was a human being versus a gorilla. I don't care if he was raised by gorillas. I think a gorilla could have ripped his limbs out and beat him like he was a drum with his arms. I mean, honestly.
He could have very possibly learned how to protect himself from those kind of attacks,
Maybe.
seeing as he was raised by them, but some of those blows, you're like, not a chance.
Yeah.
I'm like, his arms got to be dislocated, which they kind of show that he got, ants that made stitches in his shoulder.
He got bit.
But he knew how to fix it because he lived in the wild. It's just too convenient.
There are a few convenient moments like that it feels like it's stretching you a bit, even for what the movie is. You're like, so you want me to believe a gorilla punched him with all of its gorilla strength, and he's okay?
Yeah.
So, yes, there's a few moments like that where I'm like, I'm sorry, guys. I don't think so. But then at the same time, it was a
cool fight scene.
Yes, it was a very cool fight scene. It's a very entertaining movie, so I found it all very forgivable. It's like, you know what? I'll live. Maybe I'll choose to believe the brother gorilla pulled its punches because there's still some love there. Maybe I'll just go ahead and let myself believe that. Which, of course, they do become friends again when Tarzan saves him from getting shot, and then all the gorillas rally behind him, and
yeah, and they come to his aid at one point, and it's cool. I mean, it's good.
What was really cool was the chief of the tribe that had the diamonds.
Yes.
When Tarzan was fighting him, and Tarzan got the chief in a headlock, and the chief, what did the chief say? The chief said he was just a boy, like referring to his son. You killed him, and he was just a boy. Where was your honor? And Tarzan just sits there, and he's like, I had none.
He didn't know what honor was.
Yeah, he was an animal.
Yeah, he did what he thought the animals would do.
But actually, it was the most human thing he did, because that was vengeance, and I don't think animals really do vengeance. Do they? The other thing that I actually thought was really cool in this movie, I really thought Margot Robbie was a great Jane.
She was.
Yeah, she was.
She was, like, strong-willed.
Yeah.
And honestly, to match Tarzan, you can't be a damsel in distress.
No. And I like that line. He goes, I need you to scream. And you see in the trailer, he's like, I need you to scream. She goes, like a damsel, and spits in his face. I mean, seriously, her attitude is like that throughout this entire movie.
But it wasn't overdone like she was trying to be more powerful, or that she was just doing what she knew was right in her heart.
Well, it was just interesting because it was like she had that much faith in her husband. Yeah. Like that Tarzan would get to her and save her, that she didn't let anything in this entire situation where she's held as a hostage on this guy's boat, she didn't let any of it scare her. I mean, she's out to dinner. He's forcing her to have dinner with her on the boat, and she takes a knife and goes to hide it, but he catches it. He's like, give me back the knife. But she doesn't lose her composure or anything like that, and she hands back the knife. Plus, there's this point where, like, you're watching this and you're like, okay, well, maybe you could be just a little bit more scared, but at the same time, there's something you just admire about her spirit. Mm-hmm. But then you catch Leon admiring that about her spirit. Like, you can just tell he's got a little crush on her now, because he respects her spirit, he respects who she is. And honestly, I thought she did such a good job with the movie that you can't help but respect who her character is. And it's a really good match for Tarzan.
Yeah, and the only time you kind of see her falter is when she sees Tarzan rushing into that tribe that wanted Tarzan so they could kill him. And there was like 100, 200 of them and only Tarzan. And so she's on the boat away with the Leon Rom. And you can see a tear in her eye because she thinks her husband, the odds were not in his favor.
Yeah. ha.
But his gorillas came to the rescue.
Yes, they did, because he reestablished a good relationship with his family of origin. So, I had a hard time giving this movie stars, because it's a really good movie, and it is predictable, though. Like, it's going to end happy. Like, there's this scene at the end where he's fighting the bad guy on this boat, and it's one of those things where they fight. He does the mating call for alligators or crocodiles, whichever one it's there, and they go out to eat Leon, and he throws Leon to the alligators, but then the boat Tarzan is on explodes. But you don't see Tarzan. Was he on the boat? Was he not on the boat?
Duh, he's going to be alive.
Yeah, he's just fine. And it's one of those where it's going to be, we're not even going to see him get out of the water. He's just going to suddenly be there by Jane. And boom! He comes up and is right behind Jane. So, I had a hard time rating it, because seriously, I had a 4-star experience entertainment-wise watching it. But I had to be honest, I don't feel like I need to own it. And so for me, it's like once I go above 3 stars, that's when I'm willing to buy it on Blu-ray. So I think I'd give this 3 out of 5 stars. It's not that I'm unwilling to buy it on Blu-ray. I mean, if we had it, yeah, it'd be awesome. I'd watch it, then it'd be like years before I'd watch it again.
Yeah, that's why we won't buy it.
Exactly. But it was, I don't know. I had a lot of fun with it.
I also had a lot of fun. I kind of told you this in the car ride home, that it was a 3-star experience at the beginning. And then the action and that stuff was 4 stars. But once you've seen it, it now drops back down again because it's predictable and you've seen it before. So there won't be any shock factor. There won't be any surprise. There won't be any, oh, what's going to happen? Even though you always knew what was going to happen. So I also am only going to give it 3 stars. I really did like it. I enjoyed the ride, but I have no desire to own it. I would watch it if it was on like Netflix or something, maybe in a couple years.
Awesome. You know, my mom loves that movie Spoiled. She actually prefers to go into it knowing the ending, and I'm just like, that... Okay, well then you'll love Tarzan for sure, Mom. You will love it because you'll be able to predict the ending. So there you go.
And you like those crazy fights. So,
yes, but nonetheless, it is a fun movie. So 3 out of 5 stars all the way around. If you saw it, how many stars out of 5 would you give it? Make sure to let us know in the comments while you're there. Make sure to click that subscribe button and subscribe because I'm doing my best to get about 3 videos out a week, maybe a little more. Hopefully not a little less, but hitting that subscribe button, that's a great way to keep you up to date what's going on here at Durbania, so make sure you click that button.
Yeah, there's new content coming all the time, so be sure to hit subscribe so this way it just pops up in your feed.
I'm Durbin.
I'm Laura.
Thank you so much for checking out Durbania.